We're going to begin our building the forms figure drawing. This will be a full-length drawing, so it's not going to be sped up, and I'll do my best to explain what's going on. Sometimes I'm not very good at talking while drawing because I get distracted or I forget that I'm supposed to talk. I'm going to use yellow Sharpie and a Uniball pen to do my drawings, and I'll be using this image of John Bernthal from a Men's Health magazine. Swagger. That'll be my reference, and we'll do the drawing, and I'll kind of explain as I'm drawing what the heck am I doing, and then I want you guys to try and do the same thing. It should be about a 30-minute drawing or less. I'm probably going to do it less because I'm going to try to draw a little bit faster than I should, but for your assignment I hope you draw a little bit slower, and then of course, share your work. We can't see it and tell you how great you are if you're not sharing your work, so do your best. Really kind of focus on building the forms of the figure and then make it awesome. Let's get drawing. Okay, using that photo reference, this one from the magazine. Now, because I'm not selling this is practice, it's okay to study photographs that aren't yours and look at figures and for references. But if you're making your own work and you plan to sell or give and make money off of, you have to work from original photos. You just can't steal from other people and claim it as your own. So keep that in mind as we're practicing. This is all my sketchbook. I'm just going to use this reference. But very first thing I'm going to do is try to establish the shape of the head and really kind of work on that form, like find that line of action, like the head's kind of tilted, we've got the rib cage that's, kind of angled like this way, and then even the pelvis with the legs kind of coming forward, so one leg's coming forward and there's the foot, while the other leg's kind of walking back. This arm's coming forward, so we'll put that hand there. I'm trying to hit the landmarks, kind of where does the hand and the arm go, with the shoulder rotating this way. So the twist is kind of coming, nope, that was right there. So this leg's coming forward. Using my little contour lines to help establish, what's coming forward. This arm's coming forward. So that means this arm is going back. And we'll just kind of work on that swing, and establish the head. Using the head as measurement, we'll kind of lay things in proportion there. But since I'm using this Sharpie, I can lay some things in a little bit faster, knowing that these aren't really permanent lines, and make sure I get some overlapping to create that depth. I'm not too concerned with detail at this stage because I'm switching over to a pen to kind of fill in the details. So yeah, that's just basically what this stage is. The arm's a little bit long there. Working with the marker, obviously, and I can't erase my mistakes. I can't erase anything that's not right, so I'm just going to have to learn to live with it, which, for some is easier said than done. But, for the most part, I can learn to live with it. There we go. So, yeah. So, work on that contour shape a little bit, work on this, and then we'll fix the details with the pen. Switching over to Uniball, we'll just start building the details in the face first. I like starting with the face for detail just because it kind of helps establish what I'm wanting. Is this? I'm more familiar with drawing faces too, so I can build around a face much easier than I could build around, say, a shoulder blade or something not the face. Again, just really kind of focusing on the form of everything. Not too concerned about getting all the details right. This is not a photorealistic drawing. That's not the style that we're kind of going for. And that's another thing too, as you guys draw, what's your style going to be? Are you going to hatch, or are you going to add, shading? And that reminds me, I'm going to put a light source reminder over here to help me remember where my light's coming from. So my shading will be more consistent that way. So that way I can hide a few things in the shadows and get away with some of my detail not being 100% accurate, and things like that. Now, because of this lean in this photo that's going on here, it's important to kind of remember that there's overlapping, there's things going behind other things, so like there's like the twist in the shoulder, and how like his chest is kind of coming around, but like this arm is in front of that chest, like this arm here. So as I wrap around, put the neck in, the neckline, this will kind of go down this way. There we go. Now with the wrinkles though too, the wrinkles help me kind of create this contour of this arm coming forward, and then that way I can do that overlap right there with this sort of body coming in behind and add a little bit of value there. I'm not going to worry about building up too much value yet, because I really want to focus on getting those forms together in the right direction. And like the rhythm, it's like you can see this rhythm here, like, but even the arm itself has this sort of rhythm that kind of goes down. And put the fingers in and the thumb. Try to find these natural sort of lines, that kind of make it all work. And since my shadow's on this side, we'll do some hatching this way. Cast a shadow down from the head. And then shadow there. And then remember that this shirt is coming around his torso. So add some shading here and then some shading down through this way. Remember that, yeah, the folds of the shirt, can help me create that twist I'm looking for. Like this is twisted, like this arm's coming forward this way with a bent elbow. And some foreshortening too, since his arm's kind of raised, and we see more of his hand. So we'll just put a finger here, finger there, thumb this way. Watch. Forearm. And then this kind of wraps around. And slide this out this way. So that creates that swing. So his arms are not on the same ground. So you can see how like one arm's higher, slightly bigger because it's coming our way. And the same with the feet. The feet are not the same line. That will help us create that sort of look of, movement, like, and that's what we're trying to establish. Like he's coming towards us. And then we'll put the boot in. That side step. Build that value here. This leg's going back, so this leg will be darker. It almost crosses behind because it's a big step, We can add some value back there too, and then value underneath with the shoe. And now it's just a matter of just building those values up to create this illusion of this figure moving towards us. And that's what I want to kind of focus on here, and just building these sort of areas. And since I'm using, ink, it's just a matter of hatching or scribbling or whatever method, you can stipple in there. If you really want to spend all your time really kind of building your values. But for the most part, though, like for a figure drawing, I can check my proportions and see that this movement is happening the way that I wanted it to. And I'm kind of happy with this. It's a quick sketch still, and there's some anatomy that I'm not really discussing. I'm going to go with a crayon here and show you some of this, but here's the head. This is the skull. Right about here is the rib cage, and there's the center of the rib cage, so we'll build that in. The head and the rib cage, and then this is the pelvis, and the pelvis is kind of twisted as well. And so we get this line of movement. We got that center line, twist, and then movement through there. That kind of creates my anchors. And then I can establish the shoulders and how they twist, because the shoulders rotate around. This one's coming forward, this one's kind of going back. This leg's coming forward, this leg's going back, and they're extending from this twisted hip, so that the hip itself is twisted this way. With, like, if I were to make this into like a little action figure doll. So this leg comes forward, this leg's going back, so this leg comes forward and it twists the pelvic box. The rib cage itself is not straight on, but again angled a little bit in the same direction as the pelvis, but there's a bend there. So I was able to put that center line of the rib cage over the shoulder coming up, the shoulder going behind. And then the head itself is just kind of tilted, still looking straight at us still, and that's pretty much how I'm building it all up, and then just kind of working in the details. And that's pretty much what you need to think about. Like, your rib cage can even be, it doesn't have to be looking like rib cage, or you can just use the beans if you want to. Head, rib cage, and then pelvis. But like, if this is tilted this way, center line's going this way, center line's going that way, we can even like twist it this way, like where it's all like this twisting line. And this is all connected through the spine, but that's pretty much how we kind of create this illusion of movement, this illusion of depth. We don't make everything on the same plane. We don't make everything, like perfectly lined up. We study the measurements. We look at negative space. There's like this shape in here to show that swagger of that rotation. There's this overlapping here where this chest is actually coming in front of that arm, so I can put a little shadow there to push that arm back further. And then especially with these legs back here, I can make that leg darker as it disappears behind, and this leg steps in front, to create that sense of movement, like he's coming towards us, which I really kind of like, So there's my drawing. 10 minutes in, 11 minutes in, not bad. But also I'm rushing through it, and I want you to take your time and really kind of study this. Find your style. Definitely find your style, and don't draw like you're drawing for perfection. You're drawing for you. So what are you comfortable with? Do you want to scribble? Do you want to hatch? Do you want to add colors? But you cannot use pencil this time. So I wish you the best of luck. Be sure to post your drawings and make it look awesome.